We are already more than halfway through the Major League Baseball season. I can't believe it. Time is really flying, but there's a great spot in the year to size up what's happened so far. With the season being so real and so developed, we know who the real contenders are, and some shocking pretenders may have recently revealed themselves as well. While it's been a treat to watch so many new superstars blossom before our eyes, plus take note of certain struggling teams and struggling players that are completely out of excuses and there's simply no saving them, which makes the looming trade deadline much more interesting. So, I'm going to recap the biggest stats and stories from the first half of the Major League season. Quickly before we get into it, if you guys are not already, please subscribe to the channel down below, drop the video a like, let me know about your favorite stories of the first half, and a special shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. First up, the absolute biggest story in baseball so far this season is Jacob Misiorowski from the Brewers. I don't even think there's a story as close to as important or as interesting as what Misiorowski's done. He's a 6'7", 24-year-old fire-breathing dragon with a fastball that averages 100 miles per hour and will stretch out to 102, 103, 104, and sometimes even 105 miles per hour. This is just his first full season as a big league pitcher, and right now he has a 1.47 ERA and 156 strikeouts, the most in the league by a wide margin through just 104 innings pitched this season. That comes out to a 38.8 strikeout rate. That's the highest in the league. He also has the highest strikeout minus walk rate in the league. By all accounts and all measures, Jacob Misiorowski right now is by far the best pitcher in baseball. And just to contextualize a little bit how great Misiorowski has been through this first half, Jacob deGrom's 2021 season is the best first half ever pitched. Only a first half because Jacob deGrom was injured just after the All-Star break and he didn't wind up pitching the whole second half, but he had a 1.08 ERA and 45% strikeout rate through 92 innings pitched. But this was a very accomplished veteran. Someone in the previous two full Major League seasons had won a Cy Young in each. And Misiorowski is within a stone's throw of that amazing first half again in just his first full season in the big leagues. But possibly the most impressive part of Misiorowski's season so far is that it feels like he's still getting better. Since May 1st, he has a 0.63 ERA, had a stretch of 8 starts where he allowed just one earned run, and a 105-14 strikeout to walk ratio over his last 71 innings pitched. That is delusionally dominant. And that all culminated in a 15 strikeout, complete game shutout, one hitter against the Phillies a few weeks ago. It was truthfully one of the best games that was ever pitched. The one single that Misiorowski gave up was a race in a double play. He threw his complete game shutout in under 100 pitches, better known as a Maddox, and it was the most strikeouts ever in a complete game that had under 100 pitches. He was also still regularly hitting 102 and 103 miles per hour, all the way through the 9th inning of that game. Truthfully, guys, this was one of the best games that's ever been pitched in the great history of this sport. And it is just amazing to see how much Misiorowski has developed in a short period of time. Last year, he was this long, wiry string bean who struggled with his command, struggled a bit to sustain velocity. Now he's bigger, he's stronger, he's cut his walk rate from 11% last year, which is way worse than league average, to under 7% this year, which is better than league average. Like I just mentioned, he's become better at sustaining that velocity deeper into his outings. Like saying the sky is the limit is not even doing Misiorowski justice. He's going to start the All-Star game. He's probably going to win the Cy Young. He's led the Brewers to one of the best records in baseball through the first half of the season. He is completely unstoppable. But first, I do want to give a quick shout out to Christopher Sanchez from the Phillies as well. If Misiorowski wasn't having this historically great season, all eyes would be on Sanchez having a great season of his own with an ERA right at 2, a whip right at 1, striking out tons of hitters, getting tons of ground balls. He earlier this season broke the Phillies' consecutive scoreless inning streak, a record that stood for over 100 years and was set before the Titanic set sail. He's amazing, just a bit overshadowed by Misiorowski, but that brings me to the next biggest story in baseball so far, and that's the Phillies are red hot and they're completely back. Their season started off as a true unmitigated disaster. They were 9-19 on April 27th with the third fewest runs in baseball, the second lowest OPS in baseball, the third worst team ERA, and it felt like their season was slipping away. At a time, it feels like their contention window was slipping away with a very old ball club. Then, on that day, they fired manager Rob Thompson and brought Don Mattingly into that role. Since that happened, the Phillies are 40-20 with the 9th best team ERA, the 3rd lowest for all starting pitchers, and the 12th highest OPS as a team. Also, over that stretch, not that long of a stretch, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, they have made up 8 games in the standings on their rival Braves, already pushing them for first place in the National League East. And honestly, I think the Phillies are a much better team. I'd be shocked if the Phillies don't overtake them at some point, honestly, in the next few weeks. But also with all the narrative-based stuff about the manager firing and the team getting hot, I'm sure it's no coincidence at all that ace Zach Wheeler returned to the Phillies on April 25th, right before they changed managers. He's been so great off his thoracic outlet surgery, which is something that has ended pitchers' careers, not the exact one that Wheeler got, but other guys in the past. Since returning, he has a 2.36 ERA with a 27% strikeout rate, 6% walk rate, and that's through 80 innings pitched. He is right back to being the ace that he's been his entire career. His velocity did lag a bit when he returned. That forced him to lean a little bit more in his breaking balls, but now it snapped right back, and he doesn't really look 100% like Wheeler of old, but looks like 85, 90% of Wheeler of old, and him plus Christopher Sanchez give the Phillies the best 1-2 punch of any team in baseball. Also, Kyle Schwarber is up to his usual antics, leading the league with 30 home runs. Bryce Harper is having a massive resurgent season, proving to everybody that, yes, he is still elite. Brandon Marsh also keeps getting better and better and better, has been a really important part in their lineup that is not very deep and falls off a cliff, partially because Trey Turner's been bad this season. Alec Bohm and Bryson Stott have been bad as well. A little bit better lately, but bad as well. Still, this Phillies team, with those two big hitters at the top, those two pitchers, plus Jesus Luzardo in their rotation, Joan Duran, a good bullpen behind him, this is a true contender for me, and one that, again, one of the best stories in baseball with how quickly and how severely they turn their season around. Now, quickly, before we get to the next story, a word from today's sponsor. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. If you guys are not on Prize Picks yet, here's why you should be. First up, the app is super simple. All you do is pick more or less on a few player stats, lock your lineup, that's it, you're in. There's no complicated strategies, there's no confusing interfaces. It really is just you, your sports knowledge, and your picks. I just fired up this lineup for the huge England versus Norway quarterfinal game in the World Cup on Saturday. I feel like those two stars, Erling Haaland and Harry Kane, are going to find a way to get in goal. But do think England is the stronger side, and they're going to make the Norwegian keeper, Ørjan Nyland, really work. There's tons of other World Cup picks you guys can make as well, and tons of baseball lineups every single day, of course. But the best part, if you're a new user, you can get $50 worth of lineups just for playing your first $5 lineup. All you have to do is go down and click the link in my description, download the Prize Picks app, sign up with the promo code HMA, and you're good to go. And remember, Prize Picks is available in most states: Florida, Texas, California, New York. So check it out, use the promo code HMA, and please guys, only play if you know you can do so responsibly. The next big story of the first half of the MLB season, Yordan Alvarez is back. This guy is so back. He's the best hitter in baseball right now by a wide margin. At the time of recording this video, he's a .319 batting average, .433 on-base percentage, .620 slugging percentage with 26 home runs and 60 RBIs. That has put him legitimately in play. Like, we're actually thinking about Yordan Alvarez for a triple crown. Also, his 1050 OPS is the most in all of baseball by 100 points over the second place Juan Soto. There is not a hitter in baseball right now that's even in Yordan's stratosphere. And this is really cool to see after an injury-riddled 2025 campaign, some weird vibes heading into this season, but it's all behind us now. This guy's the greatest. And even more impressive, he's kind of slowly dragged the Astros back into playoff contention. They're approaching 500, and that's while Jose Altuve has completely fallen off. He looks very old. Hunter Brown has missed most of the season with injury. Carlos Correa, of course, injured. We do not know when he's coming back. Jeremy Pena has taken multiple trips to the injured list himself. Tatsuya Imai has been one of the biggest free agent busts in recent memory. And their starting pitchers on the season still have a staff-wide ERA over 5. That's second worst in the league. A total catastrophe, but it's all saved by Yordan, who looks like, almost no matter what else happens, is going to win the American League MVP. And maybe we're going to see a triple crown pursuit late this season. And now for some other amazing seasons that really need recognition. Starting off with Pete Crow Armstrong from the Cubs. He is one of the best players in baseball. I have no issue saying that. I also can't believe how quickly and how effectively he's washed away 2 horrible months to start the season. Opening day was March 26th. On May 26th of the season, PCA had a .223, .311, .363 slash line with just 6 home runs and 4 stolen bases. He was dropped to 8, 9 in the order every single day and looked just terrible. But since then, he's been the absolute unquestioned best hitter in the league, and it's not even close. With a practically unfathomable .378 batting average, .462 on-base percentage, .756 slugging percentage, 13 home runs in just 33 games, and that's good for a .229 WRC+. He's played so well in such a short period of time that he's elevated himself to being the most valuable player in the whole league so far this season by FWAR. and it's not even that close between him and second place Bobby Witt Jr. I also like that while PCA has made these strides with his surface level stats, he's made some big adjustments under the hood as well. I was really excited early in the season when his walk rate was trending up. A big reason that PCA has been able to sustain a higher walk rate and a better on-base percentage is that his swing rate is way down. He's slowed the game down in his mind. He's letting pitchers come to him. He's more comfortable working deeper counts, and it's paid massive, massive dividends so far. He's also still the best defender in the entire sport and is a superstar to the highest degree. Similarly, Junior Caminero on the Rays is carrying them to the best record in the American League by a wide margin, along with his two running mates, Yandy Diaz and Jonathan Ronda. But Junior Caminero last week became the youngest player in Major League Baseball history to hit a home run in 6 straight games. He just turned 23 years old over the weekend. And again, while he's been one of the most productive players in baseball, we love seeing underlying changes. He's become much more patient this year. Pitchers, knowing how dangerous he is, are throwing him way fewer pitches in the strike zone. With that, he's swinging less often. So he's swinging less often in the zone, which we do not love. He's also chasing less often, comfortable working deeper counts, comfortable avoiding those pitchers' pitches. He too is walking more often, doubling his walk rate since last season. And we're at a spot where we have to recognize the historical greatness of what Caminero's doing at this young age. The all-time Major League record for home runs between age 21 and 22 season was set by Eddie Matthews with 87 dingers back between 1953 and 1954. As of recording this video on Friday afternoon, July 3rd, Caminero has 69 home runs over the last 2 seasons with 3 months to go. Just for comparison's sake, I know I just mentioned Matthews, who was first in that stat. Albert Pujols and Giancarlo Stanton are tied for 4th in that stat with 71 home runs through their age 21 and 22 seasons. Caminero might match that number by the time this video even gets edited out to you guys. He's one of the most fun players to watch, and we're truthfully possibly watching the beginning of a Hall of Fame career. But now we have to switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about some struggling teams, because this is a huge story as well. The Braves and the Yankees, two of the best teams in baseball around Memorial Day, have had disastrous 6 weeks of play right now, and I don't know what to think of either of them. Starting out with the Braves, through June 7th, they had a 45-21 record that was best in the league. Since then, they are 5-14. They kind of felt like a bit of a paper tiger all season because the team is built on stars at the top with no depth behind them whatsoever. The bottom of their roster is honestly hilarious. Guys like Jim Jarvis and Dom Smith and Mike Yastrzemski and Martin Perez, who's actually been great. I will say Martin Perez has been great. And Grant Holmes. It's just a lot of chaos behind the usual suspects of stars at the top. But now, with another Ronald Acuna Jr. injury, with Drake Baldwin coming back off the injured list and not hitting very well, with massive and kind of expected regression from their starting rotation, Bryce Elder crashing back to earth in kind of disastrous fashion, Spencer Strider looking poor on the mound, and then getting another elbow injury. Doesn't look good for his future. Spencer Schwellenbach doesn't seem like he's coming back anytime soon as reinforcements. Like, look at this pitching staff right now. That's not a team who we think should be competing for a World Series. And that's kind of where I'm at with the Braves. Chris Sale is still sensational. Matt Olson's an amazing power hitter. Ozzie Albies is back. Drake Baldwin will get back. Michael Harris having a great season. But they really need someone like Austin Riley to step back up. They could really use one of their young pitchers like Hurston Waldrep or even the return of Reynaldo Lopez to give them a boost. Because right now, the way this roster looks and the way they've played over the last month, this is not a team that looks like they will be competing to beat the Dodgers and go to the World Series in the National League. On the flip side, the Yankees are free-falling right now. They are 3-11 over the last 14 at the time of recording this. And over those last 14 games, the Yankees have only scored more than 4 runs one time. That is terrible from an offense that's supposed to be one of the best in the league. And I know Aaron Judge has not played since June 1st. That has really been a gut punch to this Yankee team. Rip their heart out. You take the best player in baseball off of a baseball team, and there's no way they're going to play well. But the scary thing is, one, how poor the Yankees have played without Judge, with Ben Rice and Cody Bellinger having pretty bad congruent cold streaks. Cam Schlittler finally stumbling. Carlos Rodon just kind of surprisingly going on the injured list on Friday. But the fear is that there's no return for Aaron Judge's sight. We haven't had any good news. We don't have any kind of baseball activities. We don't really even have a timetable in mind yet. If you told me, August 15th, Aaron Judge is back. If you told me September 1st, Aaron Judge is back, I would say the Yankees have no reason for concern whatsoever. And they're still going to get to the playoffs, but this team's in a very weird spot right now, and they need Aaron Judge back. Because now for the next section here, if Aaron Judge comes back, the Yankees are still by far the best team on paper in the American League. And to me, they'd be my pick to win the American League. Because the American League sucks. Look at the American League standings right now, guys. What is happening? How do so few teams have positive run differentials? Tons of teams that we thought would be a lot better, if not good, possibly even great, like the Red Sox, the Mariners, the Orioles. Right now, the Guardians are terrible without Jose Ramirez. The Blue Jays, defending AL champ Blue Jays, the Astros, they stink. And we love these awesome stories of everything the White Sox are doing. They have a chance to actually run away with this division because of how poor the Guardians have been without Jose Ramirez. And of course, the Tampa Bay Rays, again, one of the best stories in baseball. A real playoff rotation, a playoff bullpen, and 3 bona fide playoff hitters. They're a team that, honestly, because of the way this American League looks right now, I would like to see the Rays go on a run because they're just kind of hilarious and be aggressive at the trade deadline. But even just now, looking specifically at the American League wildcard picture, this sucks. This is painful to look at. There's going to be 1 or 2 really not very good teams reaching the playoffs in the American League. And I can't remember a time in my life where the American League was this terrible compared to the National League. Now for 2 more unheralded but superstar breakouts value-wise that I really want to reference. Dylan Dingler has been one of the best defensive catchers in baseball going back a year or 2. Now the bat has matched that. He's on a nearly 40 homer pace for the floundering Tigers with a 270 batting average and 860 OPS. That's top 20 in the league. And he's made some really cool incremental improvements under the hood, changing his bat path and his swing setup. He's much more open this year. He's accessing more pull side power, and he's lifting the ball more often, performing way better against four-seam fastballs. He looks like a true star, again, value-wise. And then Otto Lopez on the Marlins. I love this dude, one of the grittiest, most grinder players in all of baseball. This season's Geraldo Perdomo, one of the most valuable players in the whole league in terms of wins above replacement. His .336 batting average right now leads all players by a decent margin, and he's added some really decent strength this season. If you guys look right here, most of the hardest hit balls of his entire career, and that's been a few years now, have all come over the last few months. And in adding that strength and getting to more power, he still maintained his incredible hit tool. He still never swings and misses. He very rarely strikes out, plays good defense at shortstop, really helping the Marlins to an above 500 record through the first half, and a team that shockingly very much in the playoff picture. And as for a bunch more unheralded breakouts to go through, Kevin McGonigal and JJ Weatherholt have been covered extensively. Those guys are superstar rookies already. Just mentioned Jonathan Aranda and Yandy Diaz flanking Junior Caminero as one of the best hitting trios in the entire league. Mickey Moniak has missed some time with injury, but he's back with the Rockies now, was red hot over the last week. Great breakout season for the former first overall pick who could never really get himself on track. Looked like we're going to have a nice 30 home run core season, maybe get traded to a contender. Dominic Canzone and Jake Bauers have been platoon kings, always with great bat speed, but now that great bat speed in their roles, just mashing right-handed pitchers, has turned them into some of the most productive players in baseball on a semi-part-time basis. Brian Rocchio, out of nowhere, has taken like 3 steps forward as a hitter, still playing great defense, trying to steady the Guardians as they really, really severely miss Jose Ramirez. Bryce Eldridge, after a poor cup of coffee last year, has worked himself into a starting role, is showing some of the best raw power in all of baseball. And a bit of a cold streak lately, but I do think that the skills and the power and the natural ability that we've seen from Bryce Eldridge this year has helped transform the Giants into somehow one of the most productive offenses in all of baseball since the beginning of May. And I love Tristan Peters as a really low-key sleeper breakout for the Chicago White Sox. Hitting really well, playing great defense in center field. With him, Miguel Vargas, Colson Montgomery, Munitaka Murakami back soon, Sam Antonacci, Kyle Teel off the injured list. There's such a fun core now to root for on the south side of Chicago. And now for some really impressive seasons by pitcher so far I want to shed some light on. Bryce Miller returned about a month and a half ago from an injury after a really bad year last year. He was injured the whole time. He was ineffective. Right now, he has the second lowest SIERA in the entire league, just behind Jacob Mizorowski. He's striking out the world. His fastball has all the life back on it that made us so excited about Bryce Miller 2 years ago when he was an upstart Cy Young pick. He's a fun pitcher, and he's really helping to steady the Mariners right now through a tough time. Also, obligatory Kyle Harrison mention. This guy's a revelation. 30% strikeout rate. The Brewers have him absolutely rolling, and right now, the best rotation in baseball. Also, someone that's often overlooked, and again this year because of how poor his team is, Casey Mize has a 2.6 ERA, and he's taken a huge step forward with his slider, a pitch he's never been able to get quite right to join his really nice splitter. He's gotten a few more inches of horizontal movement on it right now. He's jumped up to having a 30% whiff rate, and his confidence has really grown in that pitch as a put-away option against right-handed batters. Really like what I've seen from him there. Right now, Ben Brown is on the injured list, but the addition of a sinker has turned him into a really effective starting pitcher. He went like a full month and a half without allowing a home run for the Cubs, ERA around 2. And then some guys who've been steady as hell all year long. Braxton Ashcraft with his sensational 4-pitch mix has been such an effective starter for the Pirates. Parker Messick, Tiny bit of a downturn lately, but really, really, really good pitcher. Great rookie season over there for the Guardians. And Reed Detmers, the ERA is still a little high, but if you guys watch this channel, you know how effusive in my praise I've been of Detmers this entire season. If he winds up being available during the trade deadline, he's going to fetch one of the biggest packages of any player in the league. And now to go over some players that are really struggling, guys, I don't know how much they're going to be able to turn it around this season. Cal Raleigh, he's so bad right now, it's making last season look fake. There's a chance that he winds up in the lore of the Brady Andersons, the Luis Gonzalez, the Sean Green. No steroids accusations right there, but just in terms of the one-hit wonder baseball players. A 169, 369, 301 triple slash in July. I know he missed time with injury, but that is abhorrently bad for a guy that nearly won the MVP last season. Similarly, Manny Machado looks disinterested, out of shape. He's hitting a $190 as the Padres free fall in their season. Jackson Merrill's been rough lately too. Gunnar Henderson has been a worse than league average hitter. He's getting to his power, but he's not getting to his average. He's lost his plate discipline. He's lost his swing decisions. He's not even putting his bat on the ball very much anymore. He looks so lost and just frustrated on a daily basis. Similarly, Nico Horner and Austin Riley look lost. Horner had a great start to the season, looks terrible. Riley, it seems like we're in the midst of a 3-year decline that's somehow occurring before the guy even turns 30. Similarly, Corey Seager's having a season from hell. He's only hitting a $180 and he's already taken 3 separate trips to the injured list. It looks like he just is not going to play much baseball this year. Freddie Peralta has a nearly 5 ERA for the Mets, and he's been so bad as a huge marquee offseason acquisition that was meant to steady their starting rotation. He's kind of been the guy over the last month that set the whole thing completely out of whack. Salvador Perez is approaching -2 WAR, by far the least valuable player in baseball so far this season. It looks like this might be the end for Salvador Perez. Salute on a great career. Tatsuya Imai and Eugenio Suarez have been some of the worst free agent signings in recent memory. Jarren Duran on the Red Sox is barely holding a 600 OPS, and that's with a 30% strikeout rate. And now, I don't even know if the Red Sox ever get in a trade for him. Aaron Nola, Zach Gallen, ERAs are approaching 5 and 6. Those guys are horrific. And I just do want to mention quickly, maybe I'll do a bigger video or bigger expose on this soon. Paul Skeens has not been the same. His fastball does not have the same life. He doesn't have the same athleticism in his delivery. As you guys can see in this amazing video here from the Pitching Ninja, I'm not really actually worried about Paul Skeens. I think Paul Skeens is going to be fine. He is Paul Skeens. We've seen Paul Skeens do a lot of good on the mound in his very short, brief career so far, but my antenna is going up a little bit as to what's going on with Paul Skeens. And now to close out, you guys weren't going to let me leave here without mentioning again that the Mets are still an unmitigated disaster. Of all the teams that have had disappointing seasons so far, the Mets are absolutely the biggest disgrace. Even after firing their manager, Carlos Mendoza, lately, the team has not played much better. That firing from Mendoza came after a 6-error, just folly of a baseball game. Totally dreadful. The team is in free fall. Steve Cohen just made some weird comments to the media about Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor's relationship being better, hinting at the fact that it actually wasn't good last year. I don't know. This whole team's a mess. But that leads into the last point, the last big story of the season so far. The trade deadline's coming up. And we have teams like the Mets, the Red Sox, and the Orioles who are terrible that we did not expect. And then we have some of these upstart teams who are great, like the Cardinals, the White Sox, the Rays. Teams that may have thought they were going to be sellers when the season began are now all in playoff position. The Marlins are another one. The Nationals are another one. What are these teams going to do? I'm really fascinated to see it. Are we going to get a Tarek Skubal trade? There's going to be some big trade deadline content on this channel coming up soon. But thank you guys so much. Again, I have been changing the content up a lot lately. Fantasy baseball is just not really getting views right now, so I'm going to start flooding this channel with a lot more regular baseball content. This video was an example of it, similarly to how I did the 1/3 of the season check-in right after Memorial Day. It's going to be trade deadline content. I'm going to do some futures game content for you guys. I'm excited to make that. We'll still have my weekly waiver wire fantasy baseball segment, but thank all you guys so much. I'll see you next time.